Alright, we have a beautiful Charvel 650XL. It's actually a made in Japan Snow White. Apparently it's the Snow White is the colorway, but in the camera it looks a little bit brighter. It's actually really yellow now just from the age. It's a 1990, which is like pretty much 30 years old at this point, over 30 years. And it's a fantastic player. I'm going to go into a huge detail about this guitar. I'll show you the specs, the pickups, the bridge that's on here, the electronics, and even the tone demo at the end of the video. But as first here you see, we're going to be changing the strings. Right now on the guitar I have the 9.5 gauge, then a 9.5 gauge. But in this video we're going to be putting on the regular 942s, which is considered a super light gauge. There used to be 10s on here a long time ago, but I took them off and I tried these out just because I never heard of them, and they're actually very, very nice since I tune down half step down or sometimes the D to D standard, so this is a good gauge to be in. And we only have the basic supplies. We got ourselves a Fender string winder, my oil of choice, which is Music Nomad's F1 oil. Very inexpensive but yet very great quality in there. I'll show you guys the bridge that I used to have on here. This is the stock bridge. It says licensed under Floyd Rose patents, but it's not really ideal just because these tuning pegs here were not doing too good on me. They would just slip out of tune all the time. The fine tuners in specifically, because at the top of the neck, you know, the locking nut. But it's a great bridge, like it's in good condition. It's just that the tuning stability just wasn't there at all. And the block here, I'm not sure what material this is, but it's very thin. On here I upgraded to a Floyd Rose, and I have an actual gold, not a gold, it's a brass block at the bottom of it. I believe it's 32 millimeter, I believe. I just don't remember it off the top of my head. But this, I just took it out. The new Floyd Rose fit in perfectly. There's a recessed cavity in here, so when you do dive bombs or anything, it'll be able to fit in there. That should be enough, so let's put that back in. And on the front, just gonna mess around with the knob. I'm obviously going to take all the strings off and first loosen up the tuning pegs at the top, but I don't want this to take too long, so I'm most likely going to fast forward through all this. So here's a good tip for some people with a Floyd Rose. If you can get yourself a normal pink pencil eraser and lift your Floyd Rose up, you could slip this eraser down there. So when you take off the strings and everything, it won't just completely bear into your wood or your finish. So you want to make sure that you do this step just to avoid any damage on your guitar. So let's just take all these out and we can put the new strings on quickly. Alright, and to jump into the pickups, to get into these screws I'm going to use a precision screw set, which is a Phillips head screwdriver, but just a little bit smaller than your standard size. And I'm doing this because, if you can see in here, all these little 4 screws are becoming corroded, so I don't want to strip them, even though I could just replace them, but I'm trying to keep everything as original as I can. So as you can see with these, just fit right in there, no trouble at all. I don't have to apply any force to that, and it'll just come right out. But one thing about this guitar that I really, really love, let me just show you guys here, is that the pickups over time, as you can see, it's matte finish here, and then all of a sudden it gets to this like glossy, round, I don't know how to explain it, to be honest, because it's just that normal wear and tear. Like when you're playing, your pinky always lies on here, and the grease from your finger and everything just smooths out that corner, because this corner is very sharp, like a sharp 90 degrees, and this one just caves in a little bit, and I don't mind at all. I love how it looks like that. It just gives it that nice road worn look. And from all over the body there's a bunch of marks everywhere, but you know, I don't really mind at all. It's just the way the guitar came to me. I'm not really too picky on it. This is my beater guitar, quote unquote. It's just one I use a lot. It's my go-to. But let's get into the pickups here. I know a lot of you are curious about these. Very underrated pickups in my opinion. They are run by a 9-volt battery. They're like active pickups. so that's a plus. Alright, so let's take this out. I'm trying to be very careful here. There we go. I'm going to change the camera angle a little bit, but this is what it looks like in there. It's a little dirty. I did my best to clean it up a long time ago. I do have some cotton swabs now to dip some alcohol in there and clean it up. So I'm not sure if you can read in there. It says J50BC. They're the Jackson brand. It's a great pickup. I'm not sure about the measurements here, but it's pretty deep, I must say, especially for these spacing screws here. They are pretty deep. The pickup itself is not too big, actually. EMGs are much bigger than this. They're much thicker than that. Alright, so let's move on to the top of the neck here on the headstock. The Charvel toothpaste logo is what people refer to. I already cleaned the truss rod that's underneath there. All the tune heads are all tightened up. This right here was broken, because when I bought it, the first owner said this was a broken piece and he glued it together with like Titebond or some wood glue, but my hand doesn't reach that far, so it's not really bothering me. I don't really mind. Here's the locking nut. I took out the little locking nuts already just to clean them up. But yeah, this is what the shark fin inlays look like. The fretboard does look a little dry since I haven't done a change in a long time. So on camera it's kind of hard to tell that the frets are not really shining. They look really dull. So I'll be using some good old Brasso. It's a metal polish. Good for brass, copper, stainless, chrome, aluminum, many things. I'll be using a cotton swab tip. I have a few of them here just to apply them on here. It's pretty tedious, but it's very well worth it in the end. I'll show you some before and after pictures just so you guys can see the difference. Alright, so here's the rig that's gonna be used for this little demo. I know there's a huge mess up here. My problem is I need shorter cables. I have really long cables, so I have no choice, so they're all hanging around there like that. But I think I explained before, I have an Alesis Micro Reverb 4 that goes in the effects loop. This is just a power station, it has like the lights on here and everything. This is supposed to be on the top, but since I just added this in, I'm gonna rearrange everything later. I also have a DBX noise gate compressor, and I might throw this in the mix, in the effects loop actually. It's a little 6-band EQ, but yeah, that's the setup that's going to be running through. I'll play a little bit through the clean, and I'll go on to the red channel, the distortion. I have everything set up, so let's get right into it. Alright, so here we go on the clean channel. I'm going to start from the neck, and then just go all the way down the switch, and then we'll switch out to distortion later on. So right now I'm in the neck position. All the knobs are on 10. Here's the middle position. Here's the middle and the bridge. Here's the bridge. Alright, so here's the final section. I'll be using channel 3, the distortion. For the gain, I'm around, I'd say 9 o'clock. The low, I'm at 1 o'clock. The mids, I'm right at 12 o'clock. The highs at 12 o'clock. The volume, around 2.5. And the presence, I also have it around 9 or 10 o'clock. I sometimes have it around 3 o'clock. But just for the sake of the video, I tried something new, so I put it back a little bit. So, let's give it a shot. I'm in the bridge position. The boost and everything is up, and let's give it a listen.